All right, hold up. Make sure we're good. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We are back. We are back. We really got some good information for you guys. Information I think you guys really need to be privy to, especially in these hard times. All right, stay tuned. You do not want to miss out.
And you ain't black.
What's going on? What's going on, guys? Thank you all for coming on in. Come on home. Come on in. Come on in. Sorry for the late broadcast tonight. Had some things, some personal matters to attend to. So as you guys see the thumbnail, yes, we are going to talk about the recession. Now I know that hasn't been publicly declared right now, but if you guys don't know, we are officially in a recession now. I got my buddy here, Snail. His name is Joshua, but I call him Snail. Hello, what's up, Velita? You guys don't forget to let us know where you're calling from, please, so I can give you a shout out. But yeah, I got my friend Snail here, Joshua Snail here. He is, make sure, I just want to credential him really quick. He has his bachelor's of science and finance and a senior revenue cycle analyst for Centria Healthcare. And this guy here is going to break down what we are to expect while we enter into this recession. It's going to be deep. It's going to be real, but I promise you it's going to be very informative. Good information that the news media will not let you guys know. So, all right, Snail, let's just go ahead and start off by talking to us. We can start with the numbers. We just hit 9.1, right?
Yeah, so we can talk about the inflation rate because that's hurting everybody's pockets right now. Yeah. So as you can see from this is just a yearly look from August to current. I mean, you can just see a stark increase, and it is insane. Yeah. So I'm sure most people know what inflation is. Okay, it's just the value of a dollar.
Break it down to us lay folks now. Tell us what is inflation.
So inflation is when your dollar has less purchasing power. Okay. So a dollar could have bought a hot and spicy chicken sandwich from McDonald's. And then a year later, it's $1.15 to buy a hot and spicy chicken sandwich or whatever your fast food joint of choice is. So, yep, the decreasing value of the dollar. Velita said it perfectly. So one of the biggest things this affects is as the dollar decreases, okay, inflation also goes higher, but a lot of your banks will feel this. So you'll see a lot of banks not wanting to lend money right now, knowing inflation is going to be higher.
So for people who have their money right now stockpiled in the banks and their savings, how is this impinging this coming recession going to affect those people?
So if you have your money in banks, whether it be like a savings bond or something like that, you're fine. As long as you're not over 250,000, the FDIC will they will insure up to 250,000, and there's also ways around that. You can set up multiple accounts, so your cash in the bank is safe. There's nothing to worry about that. Now, what's a problem is when people are trying to buy houses right now. So if you look at the inflation rate, and you can see also the CPI, okay, everything's more expensive. And houses are already really high.
Yes.
So now you're looking at your budget when buying a house, okay? Because that's the big thing right now. You buy a house, you want to get a decent interest rate. Well, that's gone. Okay, you're not going to get a decent interest rate. Okay?
Yeah, remember I told you. Remember I told you I got my house at a 3.5 interest rate. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah. So I'll switch over to this other chart, and this is a yield curve chart. I made it myself. So this is as of the beginning of the year, okay, and we can see this go up. Wow. And generally it goes straight up, but you see this right here at the 10-year. Yeah. And we'll get into this in a second, but all your mortgage rates are based on a 10-year bond. Okay.
Wow.
So generally with inflation, okay, you put your money in the stock market to kind of help things along with the inflation. So
it's a hedge against inflation, right?
Well,
to some degree,
you're buying into a company, and generally speaking, you can combat inflation with putting your money in the stock market, because
Mm-hmm.
stocks generally go up with inflation. Okay.
Okay.
Right now, you're stuck because there's poor monetary and fiscal policy everywhere. Okay. There's What can we do about it? So one of the things I'm telling you right now is a perfect buying opportunity in the market. Everything's super cheap. Okay. Is it going to go down more before it gets better? Yes, it will. But right now, everything's super cheap. So if you spread your money out and you say, okay, hey, I'm going to put $100 a week or $200 a week or whatever you can afford, even if it's $50 a week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You put that in and start buying some of these stocks, good, solid companies, Ford.
So
Um,
Snell, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but what about folks who are just like barely making it above water? You know, just barely making it. How are they gonna fare in this coming recession? Like, what is it gonna be for these folks that's barely making enough for the rent? Barely able to afford groceries, things like that. Like, talk to us about what are some sustainable options for people in those
well,
predicaments?
unfortunately, for those are the ones that are hit hardest, and you
Yeah.
just have to learn to live broke. And it's an unfortunate thing to say, because if you don't have anywhere to cut money to say, okay, I'm not going
Yeah.
to get this new car I'm looking at, or I'm not going to splurge on this. If you're already doing that and you're living like a miser, you're going to get hit the hardest, because you need groceries.
Right.
Groceries are going to go up. Gas is already up. Electricity's already up. I mean, we can look at the CPI right here. Okay. Everything's up, and energy's up
Hell yeah.
41.6%.
Oh my
And then when you
gosh.
look at food, you're up 10%. So if you're barely scraping
10%.
by already, you're going to get killed. The best thing
Right.
to do right now is, if you're in the service industry, try and find a job that's not in the service industry, because they're going to get nailed. I mean, Nanners, we're pretty much already cashless. I mean, the amount of money that the banks transfer back and forth that we don't actually have in cash is absurd. I don't know the exact statistics on it, but we're pretty much already cashless. There's imaginary money that floats back and forth between banks every day.
Mhm. Okay, I think someone in the comments said that they've officially declared that we are in a recession. And correct me if I'm wrong, Snail, but typically you're in a recession after two consecutive earnings, two negative consecutive earnings, right?
You know,
When the
I'm not sure the specific definition of recession, but whoever
Okay.
said that, if it hasn't happened yet, it's about to happen. I mean, the Q3 earnings numbers is just they're gonna be horrendous. So
So
if we're
we
not,
could theoretically be in a recession right now, right?
I mean, we're pretty much there. I mean, look at this. Look, if you look here, that's my own personal one.
Jesus.
If you look, we can
What
just
the?
type in the Dow Jones right here. I mean, you can look at this chart over a year. I mean, this is a recession right here. This right here, and then we can look at the Nasdaq, and that's down 20%
Oh
over the
my
last year.
gosh, that
I
is
mean, look at this. I mean, so
abysmal. Yeah.
it might not be specifically a recession yet, but we're there. We're there.
Hmm. And so how do you think this administration is helping the average American uh toil through? I mean, because it seems to me, man, it seems like they're just gaslighting, as if
Well,
we're
there's
we're doing fine and nothing's, nothing here to see, regular business. It doesn't seem like they're
it's twofold. So the administration is killing us from the energy front specifically. As
damn
you can
right.
see, I'll go back to
Beijing Biden.
well, I mean, if you can look here, okay, they're killing us in the energy front for one. Okay.
Right.
Now they're not helping with food and all the other items and everything like that. But the second piece is the Federal Reserve Bank. So for just a quick synopsis of how this whole thing got started with them buying bonds and everything, when the 2008-2009 crisis happened and there was a bubble in the housing market, which is
Yeah.
about to happen again.
Oh
So if you're
gosh.
about to take out equity in your house, don't wait till the housing prices crash, because you don't want to be
I
under
was
pressure.
I was actually going to take out equity in
Yeah,
my
don't take
house.
out equity in your house right
Don't
now.
do that now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So um, the Federal Reserve started buying a bunch of 10-year bonds. Okay. And this,
Okay.
you can kind of see this here. It's the yield curve is supposed to go straight up. It's like a curve, but it's supposed to kind of go up and taper off here. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
The 10-year savings bond is what they used to call it, but it's just a treasury bond. Okay. The
Okay.
10 years, what they base the mortgage rates off of. So what the Federal Reserve did is they started buying a bunch of 10-year bonds. Okay. Which in buying a bunch of bonds raises the bond price and lowers the interest rate.
Okay.
Okay. They're opposite of each other. Well, on
Right.
top of the
Right.
terrible
Okay.
administrative decisions that our presidency and senators, for the most part, have been making,
Sleepy
the Federal
Joe.
Reserve is buying less bonds now, and they're trying to what they call it tightening. So on top of the terrible fiscal and monetary policy, the Federal Reserve is tightening on top of it. So that's
Jesus.
going to drive interest rates higher, and it's just a kind of a recipe for disaster right
Mm-hmm.
now because it's two things going on at one time. And the administration is having Janet Yellen, who's the Fed chair, they're having them do this at the same time as like a smoke screen. They want to say, oh, like we're going to do this because the Fed does need to tighten. Okay. They should have never
Mm-hmm.
been doing this as long as they have, but they're doing it at the same time. And then you'll see when we get into a recession, they're going to blame it all on quantitative tightening from the Federal Reserve Bank when
Oh,
it's really not. It's just a smoke screen.
so Nanner said she asked, so how soon before they take our cash and leave us with you'll own nothing and be happy? Oh gosh, kind of
I
feels like we're
mean,
already there, to be
they've
honest.
they've already been kind of doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you look at Bill Gates, for instance, okay? I mean, he has a tech company, and then now he's buying all this farmland. Okay, he
Right.
bought like another 1,000 or 160 acres or something like that in North Dakota. He got approved. So like
Jesus, really?
the super rich are buying up a lot of these places. They want to have their hand in every little market,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately that's what it's going to be. You're going to have to, oh, hey, you want to get corn, you want to get like beef and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you didn't get vaccinated or you didn't get this. So
Hey,
it's
Snells,
very important for us to pay attention to
isn't
that.
it true that they're subsidizing farmers not to produce?
I mean, that's kind of Congress's role, and they've been doing that for years. I
Yeah.
mean, it. Here's the thing: is like it's hard to get into farmland because there is a necessity for that because you don't want like grain and corn and stuff like that. You don't want it to become too cheap to where it puts smaller farmers out of business. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But by
Yeah.
having these uber rich people buy all this farmland and it kind of
Mhm.
go unnoticed, you're going to end up with that anyway.
Right.
Just like McDonald's makes it so cheap that I mean you're not going to go to any restaurant and find a burger for $1.50.
Mhm. So with our incompetent president pursuing these energy, what is it, green energy plans, how is this going to affect our energy consumption in the long run, man?
Well, oil's going to go up. I mean, if
Yeah.
you go back, and I'm kind of guesstimating here a little bit, maybe like 20 years ish. Maybe let's see, I'm 30, maybe like 10 years. So Saudi Arabia at one point, they were producing an excess amount of oil. There was a bunch of smaller oil rigs back when it was cheap again before Trump. They were producing a bunch of oil in the Gulf of Mexico, a bunch of smaller oil rigs. So Saudi Arabia said, okay, we're losing our share because we had a president at the time that was allowing the United States to produce oil.
Mm-hmm.
So Saudi Arabia is like, all right, we're going to produce a bunch of oil because they can produce it cheaper. Okay. And they drove all the smaller oil rigs out of business because they can only produce oil if it's at a certain high amount. Well, now what's happening now is President Biden is doing it for them. They can keep oil prices high by not producing, and
Yep.
Biden's not going to let people get new leases in the Gulf of Mexico and North Dakota and all these other places. They're not going to let them get new leases. So they're ultimately doing what Saudi Arabia did years ago, except we don't benefit from lower gas prices. We have higher
Mhm.
gas prices, but none of these smaller oil rigs can get new leases because it's worth it for them to make gas. So
Jeez.
it's almost like they know what they're doing. And
Yeah.
then when he went to go ask the Saudi Arabia, the rich people in Saudi Arabia to produce more oil, they pretty much told him to
They
kick
told them they
rocks.
couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't do it.
So because I mean they're sitting there like, well, we did this 10 years ago in order to
Right.
get market share back. Now we
Yeah.
have market share and prices are high. Why
Yep.
would we produce more oil? It all comes back to finances.
It kind of seems like he's got himself in caught between a hard place, rocking a hard place, big time.
I mean, unfortunately,
I mean, you
a lot
know,
of it's him and the senators. I mean, like,
mm,
let's be real. You can't print like $3 trillion in 2 years and expect there not to be inflation. on top of buying what $3 billion a week in 10-year bonds. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay. So we're officially in a recession now. So how should folks best prepare to deal with this crisis? How should we go into this? How should people go into this equipped and
So,
handling it?
I mean, the way I look at it is the
What's the best way to, I guess, hedge against
the market, and unfortunately, because you're getting attacked from two fronts. So usually,
yeah.
when the bond rates go up, which is the yield curve, okay, once the rates go up, bond prices go down, and usually the market goes up. Well, when the market goes down, usually people buy bonds and the rates go down. Well,
Gotcha.
because the Federal Reserve has been keeping rates down so low intentionally, it's been going against the market. So right now you have rising rates and a falling market, which is really weird to have. So it's hard to hedge your bets other than saying, okay, like you might want to look at some they're called certificate of deposit, CDs, at banks. Okay, you might want to start looking at CDs and stuff. The best hedge is to save your money, but not in just a checking account. Put your money in a 6 month, a year, something like that. Maybe buy some bonds. Put your money in the market. Just be smart. Do your research. Find some good quality companies. I mean, they've all been beaten up, and they're going to get beaten up more. I mean, we're looking at probably another year, maybe more, until the market actually gets to its like lowest that it's going to be, my opinion. So the key is don't put a bunch of money in right now. Okay, spread your money out, buy some bonds, maybe put your money in some CDs. Don't spend any excess, okay, because you're going to get screwed. Okay, one way or the other. You want to keep your money, and you want to. I mean, gold's not bad right now. Gold's
Gold. Oh yeah. Diversify your
yeah,
portfolio, guys.
diversify your
Definitely.
portfolio and just don't be afraid. The key is you want to buy low, sell high. Okay, and right now it's low, and I bought in, and it's gonna get lower. Okay, but when it gets lower, you need to say, you know what? It's
Yeah.
always going to rebound. It always has. We are significantly higher than we were in 2009 after that crash. The lower it gets, the more you want to buy and save your money. You'll hedge against inflation. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, man, like just the prices on goods today, it's
Outrageous.
astronomical.
Outrageous.
Seriously, man. Like I was in the grocery store the other day. I can't believe it's not butter. It's went from like $2 to like now it's like $10.
Yeah, I can't believe it's $10.
Like seriously. I don't know what, like how can we, I don't understand what, like how can we fare through this? This is a crisis. Like people are really getting freaked out. And,
I
you
mean,
know,
yeah,
and of
the time
course
to
you got
freak
the
out is
supply.
now.
Yeah, you got the supply issues as well, man.
I
Supply
mean, a
chain
lot of the
issues.
supply issues are man-made too. I mean, you got what's going on in what is it, Norway, the Dutch.
Oh yeah.
They have all the farmers that are protesting right now because they want to try and take nitrogen out, and like there's this whole thing going over there, and they're
Oh, I just heard
a
about
big
that. Yeah.
producer of a lot
Just heard about that.
corn and bunch of other food resources. So I mean, we're getting bombarded from a bunch of different sides, and
Wow, look at this.
unfortunately,
She
oh
said
yeah,
a lettuce is
$12
$12 in
insane.
Australia. Wow. That
I mean,
is nuts.
with all the
I'm gonna have
animals that can kill
one
you there,
second,
it's not
Snell.
like you're going to grow your own.
1 second, Snell. I gotta hit the smack button on that one. That's insane. That is insane. $12 for lettuce? Come
Yeah,
on.
it's
That is
believable. It's
crazy.
believable. And you know,
Wow.
I called this like a year ago. I was like, all right, well, actually, it's 2022. I called this like
Did you
a year
really?
and a half ago.
Okay, what were some of the indicators that kind of led you to prognosticate that this was going to happen?
I mean, when you're let's do the math here. You're $14 trillion in debt. Okay,
Yeah.
so $14 trillion in debt, and you print 14% more of that in 2 years. When it took you how many years to get 14 trillion in debt? So I mean, yeah, you're going to have inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is it? Another trillion in like miscellaneous aid with like the Ukraine and all this other stuff. So you're talking about probably 3 trillion altogether. You printed 21% of what our old national deficit was in 2 years.
Absolutely.
So
It's insane. And I don't understand how pumping more money into the economy is going to help. Like, what do we what do we just send like another 14 billion to Ukraine as well?
I mean, look, here's the thing. All it's going to do is it's going to
Oh,
devalue
oh,
the.
oh, 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 that's what I wanted to ask you, Snail. I'm sorry. So, okay, so they're repeating this line that we are in the inflationary cycle because of the Putin war. You wanna speak on that?
So if you look historically, wars usually take us out of a recession. We're going to say
Ooh.
like World War II was right after the Great Depression. And now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it did take a lot of government intervention. Before World War II, our military was ranked like 19th under Argentina. We ordered like 50,000 planes from whatever car manufacturer, I think it was Ford or something like that. We ordered like 50,000 planes to be produced in like a year. Okay. So there was a big pump into the economy. The problem is we're not pumping money into the economy. We're just giving it to people, which is a little bit different than what they're doing, and then we're giving it to other countries too. And then what
Gotcha.
happens is, unfortunately, I mean, you gave what $2 trillion to the American people, and then the top 1% got 80% of that money. So they didn't do anything to help small businesses. Okay, they pretty much nixed them when they said that you had to have like $10,000 worth of COVID bullshit put into your restaurant slash small business in order to survive during COVID.
Hmm.
So they cut that. They gave people a lot of money, and they pretty much forced people to go to all your big box stores like Walmart and Amazon and all this other stuff.
Hmm.
So they're redistributing wealth the wrong direction. So, and the government's doing it on purpose. So, when in reality, they should have just let things play out. Let's let the small businesses, like if you're going to help anybody, help small businesses.
Sounds like socialism, if you ask me.
Well, they've been doing that for a while. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not really surprised. If you look at back in 2009, I mean, Citibank was going to go bankrupt. The only reason Citibank did not go bankrupt is because the FDIC did not have enough money to bail out Citibank. They had like $1 trillion in assets. Citibank, I mean, the FDIC, who insures all your deposits, didn't have enough money to insure Citibank. So they had to bail them out, which started us down this slippery slope of they're bailing out all these big businesses and like all this other stuff. When in reality, if you own a mom and pop store and you got a business, the government's not going to bail you out.
Check this out. Nanner said the Green New Deal is being implemented incrementally. You damn right.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Solar
look at
wind.
what was that video in California where these people were waiting like 3 hours to charge their Tesla,
I,
and then
what are
like they're
those?
getting this energy from probably from a plant that, I mean,
Right.
okay, they got a
Yeah.
decent amount of solar and wind, but I mean, you're still using a lot of fossil fuels for electricity.
Yeah, of
So I mean,
course. That's why it doesn't make sense that it doesn't make sense that the Biden's policies, economic policies, are contradicting what the what's best for the economy right now, especially with
well,
regards to energy
the
consumption.
problem is like I understand, okay, whether you're pro global warming, not pro global warming, like feel like there's an issue, okay, there are ways to successfully get us off of fossil fuels, okay, there
Mm-hmm.
are ways to do that. You slowly and methodically give incentives to certain things. You gotta, they're ripping a band-aid off on stuff that really not everybody's convinced with, okay, and
Mm.
they're doing it in like the worst time you could do it. So back to your original question with Putin and stuff like that. Look,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
wars do cause issues, but I'm gonna tell you one thing: the United States has the most stable economy. Where do you think all the people around that war-torn area put their money in for it to be safer? In the United States. So Putin is not the reason why the market's down. Okay,
Mhm.
Putin is not the reason why rates are going up.
Yeah.
Okay, Putin isn't going to be the reason why the housing market collapses. Now, can we say, okay, because of the war in Russia and Ukraine, you would expect to see the slight increase in gas prices? 100%.
Hmm.
40%? No. But like they're double from when Trump from 2 years ago.
Right.
If you said, okay, hey, it was 250, now it's 350 because of the war in Ukraine in Russia, okay, I could buy that. But like $5, 550, no, I don't buy it. There's too much.
Well,
You're,
didn't
you're,
they just implemented the gas tax or something like that? I mean, what is that supposed to
they're
save
doing.
gas
I
by
think they're doing like a
40%?
gas holiday or something like that.
Yeah, gas holiday or something. What the hell?
I mean, look, it's
40
states have
cents
enough
on a
taxes
gallon. Save
on.
40 cents on a gallon.
Look,
It's
we
insane.
saw like a 35-cent decrease. Okay,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, I don't see. Okay, yeah, that helps. Okay, hey, we doubled gas prices and we're giving you 40 cents back. You're not helping me at all.
No.
We're still up 80%.
Right.
So
Guys, put a one in the chat if saving 40%, saving 40%, 40 cents on a gallon is really making a tremendous impact in your life.
here, give me $10 and I'll give you two back. Good deal, right?
I give you $10, I give you two back.
I
Good
mean,
ones, yeah.
that's it's stupid.
Okay, so let's talk about the incompetency of our president. Like, um, so with the feds, so the Fed they have to pump the brakes now, pretty much.
Well, they should have never started buying all these bonds, but they're trying to do it strategically with the economy already struggling. They're trying to do it, and you'll see they'll start blaming the Fed. They've ran out of Russia. You can't blame Russia anymore. We've already felt the effects of Russia. So anything, the war in Russia and everything like that, the supply chain disruptions from Russia and the Ukraine, okay, even Poland, if you want to include them, okay, the supply chain shortages have already been felt and are implemented in the market, okay? Yeah. The only way for it to go down more is they're going to blame the Fed. So, they're going to blame, the reason they're going to blame the Fed is because I'm sure the regime right now is talking to Janet Yellen, who's the Fed chair, and they're like, hey, we need you to do some tightening, which, don't get me wrong, they need to tighten. They've been needing to tighten for a long time. But the reason they're choosing to do it now is because they're trying to cause this whole confusion from people who don't even know what quantitative tightening is, okay? They're going to create this whole confusion, but, it's just like Fed bullshit. Don't worry. The Fed had to do this. This has to do with 2009, before my presidency, and we're just trying to rectify things. And it's like, all right, well, like, what was going on before this? And they're expecting another 1% in the next quarter. Interest rates are 6.5% right now. I mean, you think people are going to be buying houses when it's like 8%? Shit.
What is that? That's triple. That's what? Yeah, that's triple.
Well, I mean, 2.5%.
The average rate, right?
Roughly the lowest.
2.5%. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how low it got. I mean, I've heard some people get 2.25, but if you say 2.5%, I mean, if it's 7.5%, it's triple. You're tripling the interest rate in like less than a year. I refinanced in like January. It's insane. It's just it blows the line. You can see it. Show the chart again.
Okay, 1 sec. Wait a second. There we go.
You can see it. This is where we were, okay, January 3rd. This is the 10-year rate, okay? Here's where we are now, all right? We're at like 2.96%. Now, granted, how this relates, okay, the reason the rate's so lower, just for everybody's own knowledge, okay, this is what they call default risk-free rate, because the United States can't default, is the logic behind that. They add a whole bunch of other stuff to your mortgage rate. Okay. So that's why this 2.96% is really high for a bond. So if you were to get a bond right now, you'd get a 2.96% coupon rate. All right, cool. Sheesh. But raise that by another 4%, and that's 3.5%, and that's going to be your mortgage rate, depending on your credit score. So you can
check this. Just lost thousands in the stock market of my pension. Too much that I really can't pull out the rest. Hard to know what to do.
Okay, so Twilla, this is what I would do. Are you still working, Twilla? Because if you're
just assume that
if you're still working, all right, keep it in there, buy more. You've lost thousands, which means everything's cheap. It will eventually go back up. The only way the stock market would ever go down to zero is if society completely collapses, and at that point our money's going to be worth nothing anyway. Okay. If like society
Okay.
collapses. But
Twilla
Twilla,
said,
what you need to do is just gradually. Okay, you're not still working. Okay, keep
no,
it in
it's not
there.
working.
Don't touch it. I mean, I hate to say, like, if you could find, like, just take out as little as possible if you have to. Leave it in there, and you want to take out if you have to take out anything, or if you're getting dividends. Okay, try and live off your dividends. Do what you got to do to not take anything out. Okay, it's gonna get worse, but
So
you
Snell,
don't want to sell low.
do you think this is all an effort to just kind of like phase out the middle class? Like, what's going on, man? Is there some sort of nefarious agenda behind all this? Why is this happening now?
Because, well, it's
And I get it on a practical level, but why is this happening?
they've been having a lot of policies to phase out the middle class. You're welcome, Twilla. They've been having a lot of policies to phase out the middle class. Unfortunately, the middle class is the only one that really believes in the Constitution and what it stood for. Like, I'll be a working man, and if I have to, I'll get out there and I'll make my garden and I'll do what I got to do to survive.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't want you to have that ability anymore. That's why some states don't even allow you to collect rainwater. It's they put these small little things in place, and yeah, what you said, they're trying to get rid of the middle class because the middle class is the only threat. Because I have enough money to choose not to buy Amazon, but like if I'm poor and I'm getting money from the government, I don't have enough money to decide to buy anything because I'm poor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I just think this is all like I don't know. Seems like it's just all sort of premeditated, man.
Oh, 100% it is.
I mean, I got family members, that I've sent money to like frequently over the past course 3 weeks or so. And I don't know, people are really like falling under, and it's sad to watch because it's like this government is like literally squeezing the life out of the middle class. And it's like, how the hell are you supposed to even thrive in this economy, let alone if you're only working one job and you got a family to support? Like, come on.
Oh, I mean, it's like I said, what you're gonna see. Look, my wife works in the service. She works at a restaurant. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they're already feeling the effects right now. I mean, Q3. Just wait until the Q3 earnings come out. It's going to be terrible. And if you're in a disposable job like the service industry or a big box store or something like that, you're going to get either laid off or your hours are going to get cut drastically. And then what's going to happen with that is if you're not making $700-800 a week anymore and you're only making $400 a week, you're not going to be going out to mom and pop restaurant to buy food. So then they're going to cut people. And then when they cut people, so it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot
Oh
worse.
my gosh. Stop it, Snail.
It is. I'm just saying it's going to get a lot worse.
Oh, you're freaking me
Look at
out,
right
man.
now. Housing prices are still sky high.
Yes.
Okay. It takes about, I mean, I've talked to some of my realtor friends and mortgage broker friends. I mean, 3 to 6 months for the housing prices to catch up with the interest rates. I mean, it's insane. This is how big of a bubble we're in. I bought my house for 206. It's now worth 286. I've been in my house for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
I expect it because my wife asked me. She's like, "Should we take some equity out on our house and maybe get some stuff done?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Nope." She's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Let's talk about that in like a year from now when our house is probably worth 230 or 240." It's tricky because as inflation goes up, the housing prices are going to go up too. But you're going to have this bubble as well. So even if your house doesn't really drop in value, but the inflation rate stays at 9% a month, then like you're still losing value in your house because your house isn't going up with inflation. So you're still getting screwed one way or the other.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's like a double-edged sword, man. Jeez, man. Okay. Everyone, look, I'm sorry. I know this might be a bit ominous. I know it may not be what we want to hear, but we have to know the facts. The media is not going to tell us this information. I mean, thankfully, my buddy Snell here, he's gonna, share his insights and what he sees what's happening out here, man. And I really appreciate you coming on to do that, man.
Well, one more thing I'd like to say, just kind
Yeah,
of
go
further
ahead.
implementing the point of putting your money in the stock market.
Yeah, go
When you
ahead.
have people that have 40 some odd $1 billion, how do you think they combat inflation? They don't have their money sitting in some vault somewhere. Okay. That's why it's very important. Oh, the house for 285. Whoo.
All right.
Well, 600 plus a week. I mean, I don't know if that's the girl that lives in Australia. I don't know what that conversion is, but 600 isn't anything compared to what we're paying here. I mean, it's like Texas right now is talking to somebody 1,400 for rent, a 2-bedroom apartment.
1,400 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
1,400.
Wait, let me. I gotta hit the smack button on that one.
It's insane what
That's
rent is right
nuts.
now. Yeah, so
1,400.
I mean, it's really really high. But like if you look at the super rich right now, I mean, how do you think they combat inflation? They're investing. They're looking at different things in the market, saying, okay, like it's beat up. Let's
Yeah.
put our money here. Let's buy bonds or let's do
Yeah.
this. In most of them, you could follow, like Warren Buffett, for instance, you can follow his investment strategies. I mean, there's several things out there. You can actually look up what was that website? I can't remember what the website is, but you can look it up, and it's probably actually right here. Senators stock trades.
What you looking up
The
now?
first one, yeah, Quiver Quant, right here. You
Oh,
can
okay.
actually see, okay, what senators are buying stocks, selling stocks.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you can actually see if you look at who was the one I just bought a stock earlier based on what they bought. So Mitch McConnell, okay,
Mitch.
he bought
Cocaine Mitch.
what you call it shit, now I can't even think of the company name.
No way.
Um, it's a
No
bank.
way.
Anyway, he
I
bought a
had
bank,
no idea that you were.
Wells Fargo. So you
Wow.
can actually see, what some of the senators are buying. Now, this guy
Mm-hmm.
Tuberville, he's been buying and selling a lot. But you can actually look at some of these, and you know they have the insider info if anybody
Oh yeah.
does.
Oh yeah. They certainly
Okay, and
do.
there's a few different sites you can look at. I mean, you can go. I looked at this one too, Senator Stock Watcher. Okay, and you can put in. I mean, you can put in a bunch of stuff. You can filter by person, by anything you want. I mean, it's insane what you have available. We could see. Let's see what Rick Scott's buying. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
might not be buying it, but you can see their portfolios, their transactions, everything. So that's my personal opinion. Is like the people that are out to get us. They're not going to
Yeah.
go broke. So if you follow their strategy, then hey.
Yeah.
Oh no,
No, you're
wait, wait,
right.
wait. I'm Chris Ray. I'm not buying with the devil. Okay, I'm just using his tricks against him. That's all I'm doing.
Talk to him, Snail.
Like, look, I'm not.
Yeah, that's true, man.
I mean, they're buying these stocks. These
You have to
stocks
be
are for
wise
everybody
as
to
the
buy.
serpent. Got to be
The,
wise as the serpent.
the benefit is it'd be like if Adam and Eve knew what the devil was trying to do before he did it. That's They have to tell us. They're public officials. They have to tell us what they're buying and trading.
Mm-hmm. They have
So
to
if they're going
disclose
to
that
tell us, why
information.
not do
Yeah.
the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right,
So
man. You're right. You're right. So, I mean, okay. Again, can we try to leave this off on a positive note, man? Like, is there any light at the end of the tunnel? Like,
yeah,
I
like I would say, and this is just a guess. Okay, I don't think anybody for sure knows. I think that it'll be at least another year before the market hits bottom. It really depends on what the houses do. I mean, what you can do is we can look at historically. Okay, so let's look at the max right here, and this is 2008. Okay, so 2007 we got a height of 14.
Mhm.
2008 we were at 7, and okay, maybe longer than a year. I mean, okay, so this was a little high. So let's go like a healthy range. Okay, so 11,000. Okay, we had a peak right here, which this was all just fluff. Okay, so we're like 11,000. It dropped down. It started dropping. Let's see, at roughly 2007. So Q3 2007 to
Mhm.
get back up to 11,000 or above it was 2011. So The drop hit its peak at 2009. Let's see. So February 2009, the highest was about late 2007-ish. So I think maybe another year.
We'll be in the
Before we
clear.
see the bottom. And then people just
Oh,
need to
the
remember, like,
bottom? You said before we see the bottom?
I
Are you kidding
mean,
me? Come on, man.
we haven't. Okay, you got to
I
think.
told you to end it. I told you to end it on a positive
Okay,
note.
I'm about to about 5 minutes in and on a positive note. This right here is from a housing bubble. Okay. And if you ever get a chance, I know they came up with the movie The Big Short. Okay. Michael Lewis, phenomenal author. Okay. He wrote the book. You can read his series, but start with Liar's Poker. It starts the whole story off and how this whole thing happened.
Okay.
But this is just from a housing crisis, from a housing bubble. We're here and the houses haven't even collapsed yet. So, I mean, I'm just saying, if this was just from a housing bubble, this is from like inflation, poor fiscal policy. I mean, a small bit of war, okay, because the market always goes down when there's like unrest in Europe, okay.
Yeah.
We still have a housing crisis to happen.
Oh man.
So I mean, like I said, another
It's
year.
not looking good, Snell. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. When are they set to release the Q3 earnings?
Don't know. I mean, each company does a little bit differently. I mean, they'll do one every month. They'll do like a CPI, Consumer Price Index, and they'll do like some earnings and stuff like that. I mean, you just got to watch it as they go. You watch CNBC, okay? But the good news, ending on a good note, okay? A year from now, plus or minus a few months.
That's right, Nanners.
Okay. Once it hits the bottom, that's when you should say, okay, I'm going to put as much money as I can in. Because if you look at, so here, let's see, March 2020. So January-ish, I took all my money out of my 401k. I figured the market was due for a correction. I was like, it's just too high right now. Okay.
Wow.
Well, then COVID happened, which I could not have predicted. Okay.
Yeah.
But we were also due for a correction anyway. Okay. The market dropped and I didn't lose any money. I put it all in bonds and I actually made some money during this market dip right here. Okay. And then it skyrocketed back up and I bought in roughly about here. I think it's going to drop more. Okay. But I'll let it drop more because it's fine. I'm going to keep on investing. But the point being is let the drop hit. Once it hits, buy. Because if the floor bottoms out, money's not going to matter anyway. If everything's zero, all your rich people, everything like that, their money's worthless anyway. So your best case scenario in about a year from now, maybe 8 months, all right, when you see and everybody's like hair's on fire, you should say, you know what? I've been doing diligent. I've been saving as much money as possible. Now that this $100 stock is now $15, let's buy it. Because when it goes back to $100, you will see gains unprecedented. Then when it goes back to 120, or it'll get back to 100, it'll raise up a little bit, and you're like, man, it's at like 110. You're like, I'm doing really well. When you start to say you're doing really well, sell it.
Well, guys, so just to piggyback off of what Snell just said, all I would say is just be wise with your investments. Definitely, with any disposable income you may, you may have, try to diversify your portfolio as much as possible. It sounds like things are gonna have to get worse before they get better. But for all of us who have God on our side, we'll pull through this. We will certainly pull through this, and we'll come out on the other side 10 times better, 10 times stronger. Excuse me. Snail, I gotta definitely give you a hold up 1 second. Guys, I really gotta get better with these with these effects here. But yeah, Snail, I definitely want to thank you, man, for coming on, sharing your perspective on the market and just helping folks out. I really do. Here we go. Thank you, Snail. Appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
Guys, put a 1 in the chat if anything Snail said was helpful, informative, anything like that. Again, this is my friend. I've been knowing this guy for how long? 5 years now? 10 years?
Longer than that. Probably what,
How long?
2000 and
It was
freshman year of
2000.
college,
Oh my
2009.
gosh, you're right.
Yeah, so
Sheesh.
10, 13
Yeah,
years.
it's been some time, man. We've been friends for some time now. So anytime you guys want me to, anytime you guys need to know what's going on as far as the market and our economy, this is the guy to come to. He's definitely helped me out in a lot of my financial areas. So, but
He doesn't
nonetheless,
always
guys,
listen to me, and it gets him into some trouble.
yeah. Well, I can be a
But
little bit stubborn at times, so you know how that is.
well, I'll tell you one more thing. If y'all are interested in getting maybe like a finance only chat or whatever, I've been debating on doing something like that for a while. I didn't know if there's a following because finance does get kind of boring, but just the inner workings of companies and financial statements and stuff like that. Definitely put a word in, and if I get enough following, I'll do something like that.
Yeah, he really does. He definitely knows his stuff. But it can get a little bit monotonous at times, but you know how it is, man.
Yeah.
No, but it's all good information, especially in these critical times that we're going through right now. So everyone, thank you all for tuning in. I know this is a little bit little unorthodox to the regular scheduled program, but I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. I just thought that I'd share this information. So much information, plethora of information on the internet now, so it's hard to kind of decipher between who's telling the truth and who's not. So figured, why not come to you guys straight from the Real Unwoke, Fair Media, you know how it is. So thank you guys. Hope you have a wonderful night, and we are speaking truth and reality, and my goal is to reinstitute morality. All right.
And you ain't black.